Welcome to the Update channel. Live stream 408. This will be a quick show, 1 hour or so, hopefully.
Hiding, I'm searching, I'm loving, I'm finding love. I'm hiding, I'm searching, I'm loving, I'm finding love.
Finding hate in the computer UFO field. In the computer field. There's haters everywhere.
Hiding, I'm searching, I'm loving, I'm finding.
Yeah, CPU's lagging there. Hello. Good to be back. Good to be back. Although I don't know why I bother sometimes. CPU coming back to us. Let me just flip a few switches here. Where's my thing gone? Rearrange the icons again. Hey, is the mic working alright? Alien talking alright? Looks like Windows 10 has changed the microphone order again. So hopefully it's working alright in the mixer. I think it is. And the alien's on the right mic. Else it tends to be out of sync. Because it does split it into different virtual cables for mixing to stream. So yeah, so had a few haters saying they don't like my music. Too bad. I kind of like the music. That's why I wrote it. That I'm searching and finding and love, rather than actually hate. But love is a better word to use. There is some lovers out there, but there's plenty of haters as well. Now, why would you hate that intro music, really? Seriously, you got to be something mentally wrong with you. Because the music does fit what I do here. Searching, follow me, as in follow me in the UFO channel. What was the other one? Come down, follow me down, where we're going down on the elevator down to the secret base. I think the music just fits it, you know, the way I've rearranged and mixed it. And what's the other words in it? Dark side? Well, there's certainly a dark side to ufology. And you get a lot of religious people saying that aliens are demons. Come on, does Mr. Grey look like a demon? He just looks like a guy that's been on a planet that's full of silicone. He's not carbon based, he's grey, he's silicone. So, I think they only look scary because we're not used to them, right? If they're walking around on the planet here, you'd probably just say hello to them. As they walk past, right? Well, I suppose unless you live in New York where everybody walks past each other and ignores each other. Unlike New Zealand where everybody sort of waves or says hello or whatever. That's the difference between small countries and big countries where they've sort of lost their socialness. Yes, so we're going to cover go over the Navy stuff again. Who's out there? Better type up a welcome message. I wasn't going to do a show because I want to work on the other big project I've got to finish. My energy levels have been pretty low, and they want me to put on a new pill to suppress my immune system. It's the sort of thing you don't really want to do during C-19 and all the other viruses floating around. But yeah, my immune system is that well prepared that I never ever get flus, right? They're already starting to say, come and get the flu vaccine. Well, obviously they're not out of touch that going on these immune suppression pills. Certainly don't want to do a vaccine at the same time as doing those. I don't know. They want to charge you for it as well. Unless $30 normally. Who would pay $30 for a flu jab? That's just crazy. Let's see. Navy footage updates. So, as expected, once I initially talked about it, more information came out about it. And new theories, what we're seeing in the video. But I'm still going to stick to my guns on what I thought initially on that. And I'll go over it quickly again in a minute. I got some hate comments. People want me taken off air. I wonder why. You know, I do this stuff every day, day in, day out for 5 years. It's like a full-time job. I'm pretty sure most other people are part-timers in this field. You know, even MUFON are part-timers. Most of them have daytime jobs. Well, I've got all day to look at this stuff because I'm on the sickness benefit here. Because of my eyes and also my back. My back stops me doing too much bending. Most of the jobs out there that people want you to do are labourer type jobs and not office type jobs. Everybody wants the soft jobs nowadays. Yeah, so I was just going to do something else here before we do that. Secureteam, I just want to do a test run on something I've modified. So I'll just bring up him. And so one. And see if it works still. See what happens. Haven't tried it on a live stream. Because I know it's a wee bit CPU hungry. And last time we tried it, it went out of sync. Now, Secureteam, take the disinformation artist. How's your profits going? Yeah, I like the machine gun one though. It is stereo for the bullets. I can hear them dropping in each one. I like that. What's that? So this one seems to have an error on it. The sound keeps on going even though the phone's gone out. Not sure you can hear me over it. And you can see, yeah, there seems to be a problem with the sound on that one, where it keeps making the woof woof sound. It shouldn't do that. So when I get a wee bit annoyed with these fraud channels, I might let off some tension with this. It's actually quite fun. Danger, danger. He's a soul. What's a soul? We did look it up last time. Nuclear. What's that one? Okay, I wouldn't say it was okay. A rabbit. Shame we can't add our own stamps in, like fraud, liar, because that would be quite fun actually. And we've got ants that eat up the screen, which are pretty useless, and that one does it. Allows you to get and shoot. It's okay. Let's see if it goes back out. Okay. Yep, it all seemed to work nicely there. We're back talking. Yep, I think we're back. So we might be able to bring it up on third phase next. But we need to come to these guys and talk about the crap they're putting up. Whether it was in sync that time with the machine gun, because last time it went out of sync. But I think it's alright. Let's have a look. Hello, hello, testing, testing. Hello, hello, testing, testing. Hello, sounds alright there. Yeah, still working alright. Yeah, so let's get back to the topic. And the first one is an update from Mick West. And you've probably seen it already, but I'll add my own bit over top of it.
I've done some initial analysis of this new UFO footage and found some interesting things. 1. The video does not show the object moving rapidly left and right or making any sudden moves. The apparent rapid motions are all camera motion. 2. It's not one.
So it looks like it's going from left to right there. And they're just tracking it along. Alright, so let's just go back to that. Remember he stabilized it so it was always in the middle of the picture with the crosshairs when we first looked at it.
Show the object moving rapidly left and right or making any sudden moves. The apparent.
So if it's a balloon or plane or drone, does it mean it's moving constantly, constant speed going right? Well, it does appear to be so. But what's the true speed that it's moving at? We don't know if that's the true speed or not. Have we got any timestamps on it?
Rapid motions are all camera motion. 2. It's not one continuous shot. There's actually a 6-minute cut in the.
You can see here down here it's been got some numbers, which I guess he's managed to zoom in and enhance. He's saying there's 6 minutes missing, which makes it a bit suspicious because normally if you're going to put out something like that call bell, you'd say, oh, 6 minutes has been cut because some sensitive information about the people or the Navy operation was released in there. But then again, you can still show the footage and say the sent audio was muted because of this, blah, blah, blah. Here's the full version, here's the shortened version. Or maybe 6 minutes of pretty much the same boringness. Whether it's stationary for a while was cut out. You know, you don't just simply cut out and just put up, this is the footage that we've got. Unless he didn't notice it had been cut. But then again, they should have told him, right, if they're leaking it. Because this apparently was filmed by a night vision camera. And then someone filmed the screen itself with a smartphone, apparently. Countryman is on the side chat. What's up, Paul? How you doing? Yeah, I'm alright. Just getting into the updates on this Navy footage. Now, initially, Mick West said he thought it was a balloon the way it was coming down. And then we heard that it's going against the wind, and there's a strong current there with 6 foot, or was it 6 meter waves? I can't remember now. There is some facts about it somewhere. Here is it. I think it might be here on Black Vault. May have a list of facts for us. So maybe we should just have a quick watch of that one.
Pentagon will admit to. Yes, they're real Navy personnel. All that whole list I went seemingly is the route onto that, and pretty much go. And you won't hear me. This is all the original sound on tape that Jeremy Corbell posted.
Frank, Omaha, pick me kid, Rocco Peralta, passive ability to launch helo ASAP.
Yeah, it looks to me like he's got Mick West footage there because it's stabilized.
Pretty interesting, right? I mean, we don't know what the object is. Some people are saying balloons. I know Mick West, as of the recording of this, Mick is saying he believes that maybe it's a flare of some kind, or I think I saw him also pose prior to that a balloon with a payload, kind of, you know, essentially just getting into the ocean, deflating and disappearing.
Bingo.
Whatever that is, I'm not here to analyze it, so just know, like, I'm not smart enough. I don't have the capability to really sit down and analyze it frame by frame and try and tell you guys what it is. But the context is interesting because we already have Department of Defense confirmation that the footage is authentic. More on that in a moment. But what I do want to do now...
Yeah, so authentic footage doesn't mean that it's aliens in the footage, right? So it just means that it was a source link from their own system. They're not saying it's aliens by any means. They don't seem to be too worried about it because it would have been classified. But was it due to be released anyway? They said, Corbell said it was leaked by the sailors. But if you got a leak in your company, you would simply hunt them down and shut them up, right? And make sure they don't leak any other footage out, court-martial them. Seems like maybe it was ready to be deleted anyway, or thrown in the trash, you know, like it's already been solved and to be archived. Maybe that's where it got leaked out. So yeah, a lot of people going on, the Navy never wrong. I've got a few attack comments here, but we'll just go over it anyway.
Is talk to you guys about what is known about the video that you just saw. We knew a little bit weeks ago, but Jeremy released quite a bit more. So you've seen the video. So this is what Jeremy Corbell had posted word for word about the video you just saw. I'm going to read it to you. This footage was filmed in the CIC, or Combat Information Center, of the USS Omaha on July 15th, 2019, in a warning area off San Diego. This footage depicts a UAP event series that reached a crescendo with one of the unknown targets entering the water. No wreckage found. None of the unknown craft were recovered. The location of the ship, and he gives the GPS coordinates. Time of the event, 11 p.m. Pacific time. Here are some of the additional details posted by Jeremy Corbell. There was a minimum of 14 targets. They were a minimum of 6 feet in diameter with a solid mass. Varying speeds from 40 to 138 knots, which translates to 46 to 158 miles per hour. The flights of these objects lasted longer than an hour. The unknowns were illuminated. The Navy was unable to discern origin, nor launch or landing points. Unknown vehicles picked up on more than 2 types of radar. Still images of this footage were included in the May 1st, 2020 UAP Task Force intelligence briefing that I, meaning Corbell, has previously reported on. Jeremy also notes, it is noted in intelligence reports that the spherical craft appeared to be transmedium capable and were observed descending into the water without destruction. Transmedium means fly in the air and go in the ocean, you know, and still continue to maneuver. So it can do multiple mediums of travel. It is noted in intelligence report that the spherical craft could not be found upon entry to the water, that a submarine was used in the search and recovered nothing. This footage is unclassified. The craft remains officially unidentified. We do not know what, if anything, the Navy or Pentagon might be willing to say about the USS Omaha incident, but we are confident the incident is a legitimate mystery and look forward to whatever information might.
Okay, so there he said that they're unclassified. And yet they weren't sure what was in the footage, but they weren't saying it was alien craft, and they weren't saying if it was other countries' drones or whatever, or their own. So obviously they didn't take it too seriously as a threat there, if it's unclassified, right? Now, if you have a look at that stats page there, let's run through it. The minimum 14 targets. So now we know there was 13 others, apart from the one we saw in the video. 6-foot diameter. Well, we know balloons, wedding balloons, start at 40 inches, could quite easily expand to 6 feet, because they're like latex. We know that weather balloons start at 7 foot or 6 foot and expand to 32 foot before they pop. These ones here, the weather balloons. These ones here, you can buy them from Amazon or eBay, and they start off at 6 feet or 6 to 7 feet and get up to 32, 33 feet before they pop, and they can reach a height of 115,000 feet, right? That little balloon there, you know, as big as a human. You can see a human there. And you can see they do have payloads. Often radar reflectors, so they can be detected on radar. So that was another thing on the list here. Detected on 2 types of radar down the bottom here. 40 knots to 138 knots. Well, we know that wind speeds can get up to that kind of speed. We'll have a look at it in a minute. And of course we've got wedding balloons, which look very similar to 40 inch or bigger. 40 inch, 6, let's see, 40 inch. White. So you get the 40 inch ones, and you can see they're as big as a human, same as the weather type balloons, come in different colors, and they also are illuminated. You can get LED ones, and because this footage was filmed at 11 PM at night time, because we know it's now night vision with a smartphone filming it, although it looked like a black and white smartphone footage at first. I think they're put 49 inch. So they can get quite big. 60 inch, let's have a look. See, it's come up. Let's see. Have you got the size in here? 12 pack. I think they can get up to fairly big sizes. 60 centimeters. 5 foot. No. What's 60 centimeters? I think you can get bigger ones. Let me just check. 60 centimeters, 2 inches. So they're 23 inches, which is what, 2 foot? We can definitely get bigger ones than that. Because you can see the size comparison where they're holding balloons was very similar to the weather balloons, which we know start up at 6 foot. Biggest. Okay, let's just have a look. What's going on here? Okay. Unfortunately, which I think they're going to tell us, you have to barrel down to the websites, I suppose. Dig down deep to find the information you're after. But we know latex balloons can go up to biggest latex balloon, helium, LED maybe. Let's try that. Okay, we've got 36 inch here of various colours. Large, big, giant. 90 centimeters. So I knew we could get bigger ones. 50 pack LED. It doesn't tell us the size. Look how big these ones are with the guy. They're 30 inch. 6 inch. So they were saying in the video 6 foot. So 6 foot is 72 inches, isn't it? So could these expand and then shrink in size? For sure. Now let's try 72 inch. It makes sense if they got stretched to 72 inches or weakened in the upper atmosphere and then started coming down, and eventually they would pop because they've been strained, double the size, right? Okay, what else we got here? It is pretty big. What's that one? There you go, 72 inch. So that's what we're looking at according to their specs. Then size of 72. Someone stuck their head on it. 6 foot. Different colours. And I did put LED here. you can put messages on the outside, like wish people well on their birthdays and weddings and stuff. Right, here's a white one, which is probably what I'm thinking of for weddings. Chinese like to use those, don't they? So they're out there, and obviously affordable. Could it be a whole stack of even weather balloons coming down? Yes, it could. As we saw there in the picture when I did search. So we can't rule out balloons still. In fact, if anything, that list kind of fits more balloons to me. Wind speeds up to 158 miles per hour. So let's have a look at that. Wind speeds over sea. Let's see what we get on that. Oh, why is that so small? Okay. Strong breeze. Well, it fits in their slower speed. High wind, moderate gusts. And then it chops off. We need to have a look at the Bedford scale, as they call it. And looks like there's a chart here. So they were talking about 6-foot seas, and I suppose the wind speed would go with that. So calm is 1 mile per hour or less. Light to air up to 3 knots or 5 kilometers per hour. Light breeze, as we just saw. Here they reckon it's 11 kilometers per hour or 6 knots. Gentle breeze. And 12 miles per hour to 19 kilometers per hour. Okay. Moderate breeze. And you can see here the wave height with the breeze. So the wind and the sea level of the wave is related, obviously. So moderate breeze is 6 foot high waves. I don't think it mentioned on that chart how big the waves were, but I think someone said it was 6 foot or 6 meters. Not sure if we can find that information out. Naval footage, wave height. Does it tell us here somewhere? "25-meter waves." That sounds like New Zealand. 4 days ago. This only won't come up. I suppose it doesn't really matter, but to be factual, we can relate it to the breeze, can't we? And I'm just not getting the information. But yes, on that there might know if it's 6 foot or 6 meters. But here we're talking about moderate breeze being 2 meters. Fresh breeze, we're getting up in speed now. 21 knots. And what was on the chart? 40 knots, so we need to look at 40 knots. So we've got to get up higher on that chart. How's the audio? Sounds alright. I'll just do a check now and again. So we've got 6 foot to 3 meter, fresh breeze, strong breeze. Now we get up to 4 meters. That sounds more like it, doesn't it? And we're starting to look at the wind speed being related, so it must have been 6 meters. So 40 knots wind, so it looks like we're getting up stronger, high wind. Even that's up to 33 knots, and that's getting up to 6 meter swell. And gale breeze would be 40 knots. Strong severe gale, it's still going up. 10 meter waves. 55 knots. 63 violent storm. And does it tell us how the winds act with different altitudes though? That's the problem here. Hurricane force greater than 64 knots. So yeah, we've got to sort of relate it to what they're saying there. So it does sort of fit the wave height with the knots. Let's see. Wind speed. They didn't say how high they saw them flying around. Let's say 300 feet above sea. Probably be a chart that we can look at. It gets complicated because it's different over land than it is to sea, right? Okay. And you can see here it changes directions. As you can see on this one here. So we got to 1,000 feet here, is it? Yep. And look at the speeds here. Is that knots down the bottom? Have to be. Navy. So this one starts off from 10 feet above the sea, is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's it. Each of these little notches 20. No, it's got to be more than that. Let's see. 500 divided by 5. Each of these notches is 100 feet. So that one's in between. So that's 50 feet above the sea. We've got 110 knots going in that direction. In the positive direction. And it gets up to 500 feet and changes direction of all things. Oh no, actually changes direction at 250 feet on this chart. And also at 500 feet. It goes back the other direction again. So you got wind going this way, and then you got wind going the opposite way. Wind's going this way, and then it gets to 250, it goes this way, then it goes up another 250 feet and changes direction again, and goes back the other way, and then it slows down a wee bit, then at 1,000 feet goes back the other way again. So it's quite interesting how it sort of works in layers, and of course it's different over sea. So it goes all the way up to normal wind speed at just before 250 feet, 147 knots, which fits in with his chart there. Okay, 158 mile per hour, 138 knots. So it quite easily fits in with that chart there. Does it say the height that they were moving around? Nope. 11 PM at night time. So they couldn't get a decent HD video of it. Damn. So where's that leave us? It still fits in with possible balloon, doesn't it? What have we got here? So, and again, it changes with when the sea hits landmass, and then goes back out to sea again. The wind speed changes. You won't be able to surf your kite. And that's why they surf it around the waves, so the waves coming into the beach. So yeah, to me that still fits in with the sea height of the waves that we've seen in that video. Anyone disagree? Come on the side chat now and tell me why you think we're still wrong. So we're just going over the facts here. I don't know where they come from. Unknown vehicles picked up on more than 2 radars. Well, if they got payload, and the question is, why would they be moving left to right? In the information here, it doesn't say which direction the boat was heading, though. Just GPS coordinates. I don't know if there's any more on the other page. Let's have a look. Footage unclassified and identified. Doesn't mean it's not balloons though, right? So could it be some sort of experiment where they dropped 72-inch balloons with payloads, and this has got a line on it which is making it drag along with the sea current, and it gradually gets lower and lower and lower, because that's normally what they did. Remember, they normally dropped normally parachutes with payloads, but maybe they want to have sensors in the sky, so the sensors in the sky gradually measure stuff as it comes down to sea levels and keeps measuring and transmitting data, because the transmitter would be inside the balloon head and the payload would be the actual sensor. So it may be some sort of sensor technology that was dropped by some sort of classified military experiments. They're saying the footage is unclassified, but maybe the technology that they didn't identify in this is still classified, and it may be done by another department like Darpa, which don't have to reveal them doing tests on the Navy for real life data. You know, why would you tell the Navy you're going to drop an experiment on you? And of course they're not going to take it seriously like a threat or some sort of new technology, blah blah blah, you know. So why can't it be Darpa still? And of course, if the payload's in the water, because it could be quite low below the balloon, although we didn't see it in those videos. The payload can be a fair distance below the balloon itself. With the high altitude ones they do normally. So military do use balloon sensors. Remember, that's what the Roswell thing was all about, to detect nuclear explosions, right? Balloon sensors. Let's see what high altitude balloons reconnaissance. There you go. Wants to launch a drone swarm behind enemy. So they're talking about drones there, which is another possibility. Testing mass surveillance balloons. Here you go. 2019. We've got some pictures of them. So what happens when they land on the ground, though? Do they self-destruct? Maybe. You'd think they would. Stratospheric balloons will rain tiny electronic spies. So that's 2020. Here you go. That's a high altitude one though, but you can see the payload's not that too far down from the balloon, but some I've seen have ropes that go all the way down here and have other sensors, or they have multiple sensors running up at different heights. I don't think that's the balloon, that's just a high altitude one. Stratosphere balloons. Floats are optional, filled in high altitude balloons. Australia testing here. They're going to not just use it for high altitude, they're going to be using it for distraction as well, right? As well as extra information being fed back to their war machine, right? To the HQs, like, which will be the aircraft carriers, and releasing later balloons with lots of sensors where radar can't detect. Makes sense, right? The thing is, in this video, there's nothing really amazing happening, right? We're not actually seeing this go zoom, 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 zoom back and forth. It's actually just a constant moving along, either with the air current, which they said it was moving against, which means in case then there would be like a line coming down here in the water that's being dragged, right? If it had to be a balloon. But there are other possibilities that we did bring up last live stream, which was these spherical drones, right? Which can enter water and also can move underwater with internal propellers. So you got sphere drones, military. I'll try that again. I think we had some images and articles only. There's one here. Now, do they have helium in them? Because then that makes them a combination of drone / balloon technology in my book. So is that one of them? To me, it's possible a combination, you see. That means you'd need less fuel, less power to move it around if it's got helium making it lighter. What do you think on that idea? Now, what's he up to there? Looks like it's a spherical one, but it's got the propellers inside it. And that looks very similar to here. Almost looks the same to what we've seen on the video, doesn't it? That could go into water quite easily and move around. Here they are making it into a hologram, which is another interesting idea. So if you had that flying around, that would make you think, right, they're glowing. LED technology, right? And of course, then you got these ones here. Jupiter brings something new. These ones that fold around, they've got a camera and internal propellers to move it around underwater. So this sphere drones for air to water. Let's see what comes up. Does it? Aha! Here we go. We've got something new here. Just make that larger. Okay, looks like it's got cameras both ends. Can bounce around on the shoreline. Go up hills. So it must have some gyroscopic, what do you call it, flywheel type technology inside it. Combine forces. Yeah, I don't think he has much to do with it, does he? And there you go, it goes into water. And they're talking about these spherical ones with machine guns on the side of it. Okay. Guardbot, one where a person can sit into it. Move around the ground as well as in the water. So you never know what's out there. Of course, the military would know this. No, not necessarily. I don't know if we can find documents that say otherwise. Does Darpa need to tell Navy the experiments? Not if you want to. They'll probably tell some people in the head, but maybe debrief people after the event if they want to reveal what happens. Tell US Navy experiments. I don't know if we can find any information about that. Because they're not going to tell you everything what they're up to here, are they? On the web. I'm sure the Russians would like that. And that's one thing we never ever heard on the TV shows, is them asking Darpa whether they were behind it, you know. It's always been the problem with those TV shows. There you go, a ship that runs without humans. So why not drones? Why not surveillance drones? Why not air-to-sea sensors that move around all the time and keep the Navy wanting to destroy them? If you've got a whole heap of them coming down at once, what are you going to do? You're going to focus on the drones, or you're going to focus on the attacking aircraft or subs or ships? I think you're going to go after the ones with the guns first, wouldn't you? I don't think they have to tell anything that's going on, but anyone out there has got more information than I have here, let me know. What's that one there? What the hell is that thing? So it's a flying craft for one person. You know, you're seeing these sci-fis where they're actually looking at the drone technology to fly one or two people around in air taxis, so why not? I think a lot of it depends on battery technology and electric motor technology, right? Okay, what have we got here? Drone. Looks like they're going underwater there. There's one of them. And they can go on the land. And because the spheres, they can go deep. And they can go deeper than subs, right? Because the sphere is stronger than a submarine shell. But how would you get them floating? Well, if you got those fan blades that extend outwards, they could quite easily lift that kind of weight around, fly it around. Even if they had some helium inside, it would counteract some of the weight, wouldn't it? Or it actually had liquid helium inside that blows up balloons when it needs to, so it lifts upwards and then releases the balloons, which end up being distractions in the sea that pop. That's another possibility, isn't it? There's plenty of stuff on drones anyway. Anyway, it's kind of interesting. Let's carry on. So, I think that's all we need from Black Vault there, but I'll post a link to it down the side if you want to listen to the whole thing. What we know about Navy footage. So like they said, it come out with more information after the fact. As usual. And let's just go over Mick West's ones now and see how much we agree. So, balloon, possibility, drone, a possibility, but could it be something else? And let's see what he has to say about it.
Apparent rapid motions are all camera motion. 2. It's not one continuous shot. There's actually a 6-minute cut in the middle. 3. There's no clear splashdown. It just shrinks away at or behind the horizon, meaning it's miles away. 4. It's maybe a large infrared glare around a smaller heat source. Let's break all that down. Number 1. The most significant thing is that there's no change in the left-right motion, no sudden moves. I know it looks like it's flying left and then right, but the key thing to look at is the motion relative to the ocean when the video has been stabilized. Try to ignore the crosshairs moving around. Look at the region of the ocean surface in the orange box. It moves smoothly from right to left relative to the object. which means the object has an apparent motion to the right, which does not change. If you scrub through the entire video stabilized, you see this constant movement to the right. The ocean surface seems to move left, so the object seems to move right. Number 2. There are 6 minutes and 21 seconds missing from the video. I don't know if it was cut out or if it's actually just 2 videos spliced together, but you see that 27 seconds into the video, the position of the object jumps much closer to the horizon, and the on-screen time goes from 53 minutes and 19 seconds to 59 minutes and 40 seconds. If you don't notice this cut, you might think the object was dropping a lot quicker. I suspect the missing 6 minutes are really boring, just showing it continuing to descend really slowly. Number 3. When the object vanishes, you hear people in the video say, "It splashed," meaning it landed or crashed in the ocean. But remember, this is at 11 at night, very dark, and the object seems to be miles away based on the extreme digital zoom, so they are probably just looking at this infrared video, the same thing that we see. The object disappears from view right at the horizon. It does not seem to be gradually obscured from the bottom up, but rather it shrinks and vanishes, and then grows back into view for a fraction of a second, and then rapidly fades out again. Some of that is hard to see due to video compression, but the shrinking seems fairly clear. Which brings...
So does it still sound like a balloon? So let's just draw a picture of this. In that video we can see the waves are quite choppy. So let's see, we've got a sine wave. So you have to hand draw it. So this is our C. The waves are going to be, you know, different heights and whatnot. And then you got the balloon that comes down, or drone. Let's draw it as a 3D one. Okay, and just move it around. So what he's saying is, looks like the waves are in the picture moving. Let's see, they're not moving straight along, are they? So let's just have a quick
entire video stabilized.
Let's see if we can have a look at the waves here at the bottom.
See this constant movement to the right. The ocean surface.
Okay, here. So we can start to see ridges where it looks like there's
seems to move left.
The waves, right? So it looks like the waves are heading towards us or away from us.
So the object seems.
So it looks like the waves are going in that direction, diagonally to me.
To move right.
See, they went up. Looks like it's
Number 2.
Looks like they're going diagonally from that direction. But it might be optical illusion. It might be going in the opposite direction, this way.
Right, but the key thing to look at is the motion relative to the ocean when the video has been stabilized. Try to ignore the crosshairs moving around. Look at the region of the ocean surface in the orange box. It moves smoothly from right to left relative to the object, which means the object has an apparent motion to the right, which does not change.
So if it's moving that direction, you'd expect the waves to be going that direction, this direction, or that direction, we said. So it should be coming this way.
If you scrub through the entire video stabilized, you see
I just want to see if we can see the edge of
this
a frothy
constant
wave,
movement to the
but,
right. The ocean surface seems to move left.
The ocean surface seems to move left, he said.
So the object seems to move right. Number 2.
Is it moving right or seems to be moving right? See, that's where it gets confusing. Because is it being towed that way with the sea current by a line? Is what we need to find out. Which way is the wind going in this direction? So the wind would have to be going in the opposite direction, they said, to the current. So anyway, so this thing's just moving along calmly. Why is it not grabbing now? So they said it splashed down. So if it comes down there, right, on top of the wave, and of course that's moving that direction, that would appear, that would go down this way, right? Very quickly, if it's 6 meter swells. And of course that's going to, looks like it's going to get smaller and smaller, right, because it's moving away. So it lands on the surface of the water and heads that way. It looks like it's going to get smaller and smaller in diameter. And then what happens, we see it briefly, because then it goes up again. So we see it briefly on the video, then suddenly it disappears. Does it then pop? So it pops and disappears, right? Goes underwater. Well, it pops and goes zoop with the weight of the tow line that it's got underwater. Because we're seeing it move away from us, so away from, it's moving left and right, but we're seeing it from over here. So the ship is over here, watching it this way, and it's moving that direction, and the waves seem to be on a sort of a diagonal, or moving that direction diagonally. So yeah, you can see how it could disappear on that video footage. Now the other possibility is, if you take away that again, that this is a flare on a parachute, and he talked about seeing glare. So when it went behind the wave here, because the way glare works with the brightness of the infrared, the sensor, that it actually looks like it's in front of the wave. So it actually looks like it's in front of the wave and then gets smaller because of camera artifact, and then eventually sinks into the water or whatever, which is Mick West is what's saying, but I still think it's a balloon. Or it could be a drone that goes into water, you know, bang, gone, get out of here. Or it could be like a miniature submarine or something that's released from a submarine. So if you've got a submarine under the water, releases a load of these up in the sky to distract, then they return back to base. They could land in different areas, of course. The submarine, mini submarine, might be a drone submarine, you know. We just heard about remote controlled ships in the search before. So does it really sound like alien technology? I don't think so. I think it's more closely related to man-made, looking at it like that.
There are 6 minutes and 21 seconds missing from the video. I don't know if it was cut out or if it's actually just 2 videos spliced together, but you see that 27 seconds into the video, the position of the object jumps much closer to the horizon, and the on-screen time goes from 53 minutes and 19 seconds to 59 minutes and 40 seconds. If you don't notice this cut, you might think the object was dropping a lot quicker. I suspect the missing 6 minutes are really boring, just showing it continuing to descend really slowly. Number 3. When the object vanishes, you hear people in the video say, "It splashed."
Splashed!
Meaning it landed or crashed in the ocean. But remember, this is at 11 at night, very dark, and the object seems to be miles away based on the extreme digital zoom.
See how it seems to be bobbing up and down? It's almost like it is in the water, and the waves are sort of knocking it up and down, and then it goes behind a crest like I was showing on the diagram, right? Disappears and then it comes back again.
So they are probably just looking at this infrared video, the same thing that we see. The object disappears from view right at the horizon.
That means the balloon's got to be warmer. Well, it can be. It can be warmer than the surrounding air, especially if it's got an LED light source in it, which wedding balloons do have. But any balloons you can put in a light source. But if it's some sort of military balloon with radar dish inside or electronics that will get warm, sure it's going to show up on radar. A drone would be the same. That would have like spinning blades inside it, as you saw, and they don't have to be on the outside. Does it look like it's hollow? It's hard to tell because it's infrared, right? We can't see that it's a solid surface on it. It could have little inlets where the jet or the water inlets go, air vents.
It does not seem to be gradually obscured from the bottom up, but rather it shrinks and vanishes and then grows back into view for...
See, that looks like a wave coming up, up here. And it dips behind and then it'll come up again.
A fraction of a second.
See, it comes up again, the wave.
And then rapidly fades out again. Some of that is...
And then it goes back down the other wave and pops or whatever. Or goes into the water.
Hard to see due to video compression, but the shrinking seems fairly clear. Which brings us to number 4. This shrinking effect would happen
if that was a UFO, that would be boom, gone. You wouldn't see it slowly disappearing. It was an alien craft, alright? In fact, I don't think you'd see any alien craft because the Nimitz encounter talked about hypersonic going from great distances up to sea level within less than 1 second. Your technology is not going to see that. You're lucky that the radar would even see that. So yeah, although we haven't actually got access to the radar data to analyze it. And of course, it may disappear because the temperature suddenly drops once it's in the sea as well. There's another possibility there. Maybe it didn't pop. Maybe it simply just went underwater. Or it got too cold for the thermal to detect it.
What we were looking at was an infrared glare. Black is hot here, and a very hot object, like a flare, creates a glare around it which is a lot bigger than the actual flare. If a solid object goes behind the horizon, then you'd see it cut in half, like this. But if it's a glare, then you would just see the glare shrink and grow as the smaller heat source is obscured and pops back into view and then is obscured again, possibly by waves right on the horizon. One thing that seems very clear from all this is that there is zero indication that it's a trans-medium craft that is transitioning to flying underwater. We just lose sight of it at the horizon. So what are we looking at? I initially thought a balloon, simply because it seemed round and it was descending so slowly. My number 2 hypothesis was a glare from a flare descending on a parachute, and I moved more towards that after looking at the shrinking that looks like obscuring by the horizon. But this arrow here...
I don't know. Look, I still think it could be a wave crest.
Seems to indicate where north is, and the wind would have been coming roughly from the north, and the apparent motion of the object seems to be towards the north, i.e. against the wind, so that seems to point more towards a powered craft. But then if the object is far beyond the horizon, then maybe this apparent motion is a bit of an illusion, a combination of the motion of the ship, the waves, and the object, with some of the apparent motion perhaps coming from parallax. It's hard to tell, and it's unfortunate.
And as we've already seen, that the wind direction can actually change the opposite way around, especially if it's far away. So it may be look like it's going against the wind where they are, but it may be far away. And look closer than what it really is, and the wind direction may be going in the totally opposite direction, even in the same area. As you know, the wind direction goes around in circular motions. You see it on weather maps. So it's another possibility. But then again, if it's a balloon with a tow line underneath, where the water current's dragging it against the wind, is another possibility. Or it could be simply, like you said, a powered craft, like a drone, a sphere drone. So at this stage we can't narrow it down precisely because it kind of moves like a drone, it moves like a balloon or a drag line. So it's sort of stabilized a bit, and flares I would have thought would have been drifting off, but like you said, it could be far away, and what we're seeing there, it looks like it's moving, is just optical illusion due to parallax, the sea movement and the camera movement, or the ship movement. So yeah, it's all
Fortunate that yet
together.
again the best UFO videos that we get are these really poor quality, low resolution videos. So I don't know, maybe a balloon or a parachute flare, or maybe a distant helicopter, maybe a drone, maybe a Chinese drone, maybe a plane really far away, maybe an alien spaceship doing some really boring flying. More information would be very useful.
So basically, he's basically said what I've said, really. That it could be a distant heat source, it could be a balloon, it could be a drone. And as we know, the shape of drones can be varied, including a spherical one, which is ideal for going deep underwater, for air to sea and all that sort of business. Like, if you go deep enough, the detonations can't get to it. So if it's managed to spy and almost get caught, it could simply go very deep and hide until the ship's pass, and then come back up and fly off towards its HQ and land. So yeah, I don't see anything here being alien. It's very boring alien craft, like Mick West had said. If it shot vertically upwards at high speed, or suddenly more showed up together, and joined up, and we'd probably be a bit more suspect that it was CGI and stuff. But yeah, it would add more credibility to it, especially if it's Navy footage. Because it's less likely to be CGI. But you can see here the wave crests. It's good enough for that. If it got on the edge of the sea here, I reckon that would easily hide the ball in a crest. He's saying it's not, so it's gone below the horizon, but yeah, I just don't know. Black and white, pretty bad video, really. If we saw it in colour, we might be able to see that it was actually floating on the water, or actually went behind the water. If we had like side-by-side infrared with normal vision, we'd be able to see how much of this is glare from the heat, as he was talking about.
Not really super interesting. Something descends slowly towards the horizon, as slow as a setting star, and then is hidden by the horizon. That's all we've got.
I don't know, it still could be bobbing up in water there. You'd think the Navy guys would know if it was splashdown or behind the horizon, I would have thought, at least. For targeting purposes, maybe they had more information on their scopes than what we're seeing here in the video. Maybe they even picked up a sonar signal for a split second, or radar, or whatever. Anyway, yeah, I'm not too excited about it, but it is better than some of the other crappy videos we've got. I suppose we really need to hear eyewitness accounts with it, right? And maybe some other information. Mick West, new debunk on footage. Moving on. I said it was only going to be an hour. We're already over. Do too much talking. Right, that was meant to be on something else, but we might mention that as well. Yeah, so it's unclassified. So they must have worked it out that it wasn't something that should be classified, right? They think it's some sort of mundane object that can be declassified. And this guy here was attacking me on it last night. I knew it. Swamp gas filled balloon. How the most technically advanced military the planet has ever known could not figure this out. Well, maybe they did. Maybe we're not getting the full story, right? And could be in less than 2 minutes. And I did it in 2 minutes. Well, yes, I strung up some possibilities from observing what it was doing. It was coming down slowly. Possibly with a payload dragging in the water. And then popping. Seriously? Yes, seriously. That's correct. But I also said a drone. Remember? I also talked about possible drone. We didn't know the size of them, the size of the waves. We didn't know all the information that we know today. You should team up with Alex Jones. Well, if I did, I'd probably be a lot richer than I am at the moment. And his alter ego at the other extreme end of the conspiracy nut spectrum. But why is mine conspiracy? Mine's looking at it as seriously as is it mundane or is it something that we can't explain? Well, at this stage, I think it's something we can explain. If you think the US military would confirm to the world that after their analysis tools you could only dream of, well, I got my brain, and a lot of open source tools is quite powerful, you know. The human brain is like the supercomputer, right? It can pattern match, think in 3D. It's very hard to tell software to do that. And taking all the other factors at the same time. And if you do it every day, day in, day out, there's no reason why you can't see signatures that relates to balloons, like coming down slowly, popping and vanishing, you know, that sort of stuff. Because once it gets smaller than the sensor, it looks like it's cloaked or whatever, when it's actually just popped. All of these videos that even they couldn't figure out, they were all... Well, they wouldn't unclassify it if they thought it was an alien craft, right? Surely not. Unless they want to use it for disinformation to get it on the news channels so the Russians are listening and the Chinese, right? They couldn't figure out swamp gas balloons or birds. Well, how many things do the experts look at every day, you know? Would I be hired as an expert for the military? It has happened. You know, I knew someone that I used to work with. He had a keen eye for satellite imagery, seeing buildings and stuff in it, and he was asked whether he'd like to move departments in military, because he was in the reserves, to actually study that instead, work with them on satellite imagery, on computer topics, you know, to code and stuff, or just a super brain, you know, super eye. Imagine an advanced civilization that's able to travel here. Well, they wouldn't be diddling around at sea like that, would they? And they'd zoom down like the Tic Tac one did. Zoom from super high up to stop on a dime above sea level, or simply enter the sea. It would slow down, of course, and then enter the sea, because you're changing mediums in transmedium. Unless they choose to do so. Do I tend to blindly believe Roswell that Area 51 has multiple UFOs? Well, it's possible they have a collection of them. They're trying to figure out the materials on it. Obviously, if they're crashed, then they're not working. Trying growing up next door to the biggest propaganda machine, and people more full of themselves than you can even fathom as a New Zealander. Okay. Americans literally believe that every UFO that has ever crashed on our planet, they got stashed away in Area 51. That's only because of Bob Lazar. They travel trillions of kilometers to Earth. Well, we don't even know that. They could be interdimensional, multi-universes, portals, and just crash in only America. No, they probably crashed all over the world. Sea, Russia, Australia, all the big land masses, and probably all the governments have them. I think probably Reagan hinted at that, didn't he, in his speech, about whether they were under threat. Again, it's good aliens, bad aliens, or what? This is the kind of people you're dealing with, but at the same time, they're not completely crazy. Shut the channel down, man, and find a new hobby. Over 400 videos. Well, it's actually closer to 700. And a couple of views and comments. Well, that's not my problem. There's a problem out there in ufology, mental problem. And there's also been attacks on me with wrong information spread about me out there. Seriously, man, for your own sake and health, unsubscribe and take care. So, is he working for the government and wants me to go? See, we can turn it into a conspiracy if we want to. Why people keep telling me to go, I don't know. So obviously it's not because they disagree with what I say, it's just that they don't watch everything I say. Or understand it, because they haven't been watching me for long enough. Anyway, if you want to comment on that. What's happened is, though, Google has hidden his comments. And there's nothing I can do about it. They ghost it, they take control. I've replied to it, as you can see here, but you won't be able to go to that video 407 and actually see the comments, because Google's mucking around with it. And this is one I got this morning, which ain't too bad. But I'm not too sure what it's all about. I like what you're doing, so someone likes what I'm doing here, so someone's listening. Also do similar, but that's the thing, you got to remember I've had experiences. I'm not a typical Mick West, although I do agree with him. What he said all makes perfectly good sense. Until more information comes in, what can you say about it, really? Also do similar, but with green phosphor. Do similar, not too sure what he means by that. Intensify. So he does the same as the Navy, is that what he's saying? I'm sure I'm getting closer to having contact. Terrifying. I said here, down here though, aliens come to you. We're not sure on the reasons why, but there don't seem to be randomness to it. Their selections, I spelt wrong there, have purpose. I wonder if I can edit that. Probably not. It's on Twitter. Doesn't matter. You think our tech can detect? Nope. Moving very fast. I mentioned that before. 99% mundane, mostly man-made stuff. Others most likely Darpa and enemy craft drones. With 1% being aliens, of course, or less. That's what I said there. Although I got some grammar mistakes there, but yeah. Another comment. That'll do. Post it down the side there. We'll get to Secureteam in a minute. So GUFON put this crap out yesterday. GUFON 17 years versus Paul's 5 years, and he still can't tell lens flare and reflections. See bottom right, the full footage. You see more at the end, oddly shaped like the dino, as Rich calls it. So here, as part of the space station, if you go down further, the body comes out this way, which matches up in his video here. I'll just play it here.
Space station, and they noticed something strange in the background. The object, which was described by the individual as looking like a ship, allegedly approached the space station before the cameras were shut off. Amateur researchers who have looked into these accounts have said this often happens when a strange object approaches the International Space Station.
All right, what do you think? What do you think that is? That's incredible. I don't know. I don't remember seeing this. That's why I'm talking about it. But it sure does look a little man-made-ish, and it looks alien-ish. Like, I can't think of any reason something would be built this way. But then again, I'm not a space guy.
You're not
Here's another version. That's the sad.
So you saw the part of the space station down here with the antenna, and it had a long neck. Well, that kind of looks similar, doesn't it? And then it had the body going this way, and it had some other stuff.
Even when you have video.
So I debunked that 3 years ago. Right, here's a link to it here. He's saying it looks like a dinosaur. It kind of looks alien. It kind of looks man-made. This one here. Now they took it out of sequence. It's runs over about 10 minutes. Why is it not playing? Let's see, can I get it opened? Now you got to remember, you can find this information online. The observation module, which is where they put the camera, there's 6 windows, and they have like 4 panes in them, or 4 layers of 1 and 1/4 thick each, with shutters to protect the outside window. So obviously when they're not filming, they close the shutters, or if there's some sort of storm, they close the shutters. It tells you on the wiki page here, and gives a picture of it, of what they're filming through. It gives a breakdown. So this is the observation module, right? And that's what they're filming through. Bulletproof glass that's 4 layers thick. And you got the top window here, and that's what they film through. Of course, you're going to get reflections. Excuse me. It breaks it all out here on the diagram. There you go. So they look out there themselves, and they have a camera up here looking that direction, or they hold the camera. So that should give you a clue that it's going to be a lot of reflections on those windows. And this is exactly what happens here. Lens flare as the sun reflects the body. Okay, so this is the start of the footage here, where it's starting to come into view now as the sun is changing the angle. The space station is rotating around the Earth every 90 minutes, like that. And the sun obviously is over this direction here, which is off view here, but it's coming down here and lighting up part of the structure here. You can see it's lighting it up brighter here to start with. So there's a head of some sort of satellite dish there. A bit of bracket coming out this way. That's what we can see at this stage. So we've got some lens flare developing, and also got reflection from this here. And the sun's getting brighter. See how bright it is there now? You saw how bright it got. Although we can only see it going up here, that's that bit here. We can't see the rest of it because it's chopped off below frame here. And you can see this is quite a long piece of video footage, a few minutes. And you can see as the sun's changing angle, this is getting brighter and brighter. More of it's getting illuminated. And we're getting more of an image here. And you can see here, see the reflection in the window itself. See that there? See that sort of smudging on either side? That's where the window edges are. See that there? You can see a reflection inside the cabin. Might be able to even see the face of the spaceman here somewhere. So you can see the reflections through the multiple layers of glass. And you can see here I'm not sure if that part is that part there and the neck's coming down, or this whole thing here is that top part here. It's a bit hard to tell how it's reflecting off the window. Moved the camera just at the end, and then they cut off, unfortunately, just as it was getting good where we can analyze it with an overlay, which I didn't bother doing. Yeah, it changes very quickly. So we can only really see part of it. So now we can see that looks kind of look like that bit there, and this bit popping out here kind of looks like it might be this bit here, and it must be a bit further below as well, and that there looks like it might be that bit going up here. Kind of looks like it fades off here. See that there? It looks like a square bit. Goes up to this here. Plus you got to sort of distort it. So not only is it reflection, but it's also being bent and stretched. So if you stretch that out a wee bit that direction, I think it matches up here with that bit here being the neck coming down. And that's stretched out this way. Kind of looks like it's part of the wing of this so-called dinosaur going this way. Alright, you can see it, how it's sort of forming, right? But that's not the only one. They get a lot of reflections off the robot arm. And this is one of them. So you can see here the knuckles on the robot arm are quite close to the camera, reflect, well then they get bright, they reflect back into the window. There you go. Just have to watch my old stuff, people. Get educated. Stop being done by these fraud channels online. Now just watch this one with all the UFOs popping up, right? You've seen these ones before. These ones with the dumbbell type UFOs. Well, just watch this segment here in space. There it comes, coming up. Are they UFOs? No. Just watch this whole video sequence over a few minutes. We've got lens flare with the old hexagon iris. There's one of these dumbbell UFOs coming up. And it's reflecting off parts of the station. You can see they happen everywhere. Inside the camera, between the station and the camera. There's that. There's part of the dinosaur thing again. Is that a reflection there again? I think it might be, you know. We still can't see the rest of it below though. Is there something? I think there's something sticking out down here, which would match up with what we were seeing. Or was it reflecting off that? That was the head, the neck, and the wing coming out, and the rest of the body, right? The dino. It's a bit shame we can't sort of match it up a bit better. But you should be able to put that around in your head. And you got the robot arm. Anyway, we got that sort of sussed out here. So there's another bit that goes further up here that also goes up. So that might be actually this bit here. Could be that bit there. And the other bit that we're not seeing off the space station is another bit that goes up like this. So I think that there might be this bit here. And that sort of lines up with the back of the rest of it here. Perfect match, I'd say. What really I should do is maybe cut that out there and overlay it so you can see. Now I've got a bit more skills in doing this. I could probably do that. Let's see. We can take one from the other shot and overlay it on this one. Yeah. Means we're going to go over time, but might be worth it. Come here, dinosaur. Here we go for time. Oh shit, it's dinner time now.
We've got steak for dinner.
Yeah, but I'm doing a live show. It's going to be another 10 minutes or so. Looks like I'm the chef. I got to go and cook dinner. Let's just drag this back here. We're seeing this rest of it here. So really we're looking at that being the dinosaur there. I don't know if there was a better part there where we can get rid of the line. Not really. It's fading a wee bit there. Okay, let's bung what we got and see how much it over matches. So open with. Okay, so there's the head of the dinosaur, there's the wing. So let's bring in the dinosaur, as GUFON calls it. Add a layer. Scale it up, but it's probably going to be distorted. And it's sort of looking like that bit there. I'm going to have to zoom out. Make it transparent. It's a wee bit harder. I might have to muck around with the colours as well. Oh, there we go. Seems to be over matching that bit there and that reflecting off there. And the back of it there. Let's see if we can change color burn. Color dodge. Oh, there we go. So I'm overlaying that dragon, and you can see where the highlights are. So where the tail is, it's here, and where the wings are is there, and there apparently. There. That, I'm not sure why we can't see that too well. And the rest of this, which is the head of the beast. So the sun was reflecting there and at the front. Does that make sense? It's the best I can do, I think. There you go. The head of the dinosaur. Reflection there and a reflection there. And a reflection of the tail. I think that sort of solves it. Okay. Paul does it again. But people want me to get off the internet because I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'll leave you to GUFON to tell you it's alien flying around in a ship shaped like a dinosaur. Okay, so I might just keep those in case we want to go back and compare it. And lastly, just to wrap up on Secureteam, where's my comment? I'll just post my comment here so you can actually have a rewatch of that video if you want to. Maybe click a like on it. You could do some comments on it as well. As you can see, I get lots of bad comments, not very much nice comments. GUFON Dino saw and Space Debunked. So that's done, and you can get these other links off that link. And we got Secureteam. Now this is what he said about the Navy thing. I'll just quickly go over it. Hey! Hold me. Yeah, I'm going to have to go and cook dinner in a minute, so I'll just quickly go over Secureteam.
That was caught just a couple of years back by...
Okay, so he's a wee bit behind the party. He's put this out days after everybody else has already put it out. 3 days, I think. We got ahead of him.
Cameras on the USS Omaha. They were out in the ocean and they noticed what appeared to them to be a spherical object slowly making its way right above the ocean waves before finally dipping down into the water without making any sort of splash whatsoever.
Well,
almost
they're noise in the system, so I've got to educate people to understand what they're seeing and how to interpret things, right? To interpret reflections. Because they keep dumbing down ufology out there, and because these ones get lots of money thrown at them because they feed their fantasy that it's aliens when it's 99% it isn't. Doesn't mean there's not aliens out there, but they're not finding solid evidence every 5 minutes or whatever it is. They're putting it up on the channels. Which is this mundane, man-made stuff or natural stuff, you know. So here he is, just putting out this one here, and then he starts adding in other stuff, right?
It's as if it just defies physics. and just pierces the water without causing any sort of disruption. And as many of you know, I have been
Well, they land on the surface from what we were thinking, or it goes behind the horizon, and it doesn't necessarily have to go zooming downwards. It was moving downwards slowly, so it touched down on the surface and got hidden behind waves, right? And simply popped or went underwater. Whether it's a drone or a balloon, we haven't got enough information to say, but alien craft, I don't think so at this stage, unless we get some more information that changes, rules out possible balloons and rules out possible drones. But the information we've been provided so far fits in with drones and also fits in wind speeds that balloons move around in, which is what we covered in the first half.
Fascinated with USOs, or unidentified submerged.
Yeah, this is obviously military flares here, right? Illumination flares, nothing to do with UFOs.
Objects, UFOs that seem to hover around our oceans, coming in and out.
But that's what Mick West was saying. He was saying it's probably these illumination parachute flares off in the distance, and they just went behind the horizon. And when you see it on night vision, they kind of look like spheres. And you see the glare appears before the horizon, then it seems to get smaller and then bigger and all that because of the way the artifact forms in the camera lens, a sensor, lens and sensor.
Our oceans, we have many sightings that I'm going to show you in a minute, as well as more UFO footage, also this time caught by the Department of Homeland Security, of an object piercing down into the ocean. I've always said, we don't need to look up into space.
I don't know if they hear anything when something splashes down into the sea. You'd think they'd have a lot of sensitive equipment for that, sonar as well. But sonar wouldn't work on the surface of the ocean, but they might have some other sort of stuff where they hear it splash down, because they say splash down on the video. So is Mick correct? I don't know whether it's behind the horizon. I'm still leaning towards it being a balloon slowly descending with some line in the water that's sort of acting against it, towing it along with the current of the sea, or holding it in place, and the movement is actually parallax or misleading. So yeah, at this stage, until more information comes in, also a sphere drone is possible. In fact, when you have a look at some of the ones we saw earlier, it could easily be one of those that we saw the military experiments that are mucking around with, that can go into water and go very deep as well.
We have an alien world right here on man. Here's this object, whatever it is, to be a spherical object. Ton of awesome Secure-Team fans
outside, so the image was obtained via a thermal.
The
image was captured by Navy personnel. The task force considers it to be
of UFOs that I've seen.
Yeah, this one here in Aquila, was it? I debunked this one as well, but he's comparing this to the other footage.
As they follow this thing, it gets closer and closer to the water before, just like this new clip, and without causing...
And this just proves to me that even the experts out there, even some MUFON, got this one wrong, and we broke it down frame by frame. On one of my episodes recently, I recapped it. And I think people need to watch that, you know, because they still haven't watched it. And I think maybe I posted it last night even. Where did I recap it? And made it into a newer video. Should be here somewhere. Well, if you've been following me, you should know all this already, but these people are attacking me. Oh, here it is here. I break it down here. It's also even got chapters here, so it makes it a bit easier for you. Breaks it down into topics, subcategories, and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so go and check out that one, and go and watch his one, and you see how much cobblers his one is compared to what I do here. The so-called best UFO footage analyzed. The problem is I have with thermal and night vision is that it's interpreted. It's not actually like seeing HD video, right? You're not seeing it like you would with your eyes. In fact, the best option would be to see the same object under all different spectrums, right? Even X-ray, gamma, X-ray, you know, have a whole shebang, show and full spectrum and all that sort of stuff. UV, infrared, and then you can see it see what it looks like in all of those spectrums, and combine the information. That would be ideal. So yeah, we have to see what the future comes out with the camera technology. But it'll be a while before smartphones start having it on with optical zoom. That's really what they need mostly on cameras. Instead of filming dots in the sky. But yeah, this one here turns out to be, don't let me say it, Chinese lanterns. And that's why they fade when they go over the sea, because the temperature changes in the background. And of course this camera has trouble seeing them against the sea background temperature, and it sort of fades and looks like they go into the water when they're not actually going into the water. And there's actually two of them. They actually split apart, they're actually stuck together to start with. And they tracked down, there was a wedding party releasing Chinese lanterns further up the coast that day. So it's all been investigated, and the airspeed and all that sort of stuff.
Any disturbance, tell me what you think, man. Pretty much see the entire,
just go and check it all out.
Very strange, long, oval, or cigar-shaped plateau casting a shadow down on the surface. And as we zoom in, you'll notice what appears to be an entrance of some kind dug out of the side of this thing, or constructed. And it almost looks like your typical...
Actually, I can see missing data there. So what's all this here? Hey, an entrance dugout. To me, it looks like a, like a normal cave you get on the side of a mountain, and you just got shadow cast across it. And some of these rock looks like they're dug out too, but it's still actually the shadow. And what's all this here? Is that missing data, or is it again strange little holes in the ground, probably due to ice and all that, water evaporation and all that sort of business over millions of years, right? So it's just turning anything into aliens. It must be aliens. It's not like we're seeing that, like a dome structure here with UFOs flying around, or aliens standing and sunbathing outside. And then it keeps talking about his merchandise. Now you can get earrings. Anyway, I'll leave you to it now. That was just meant to be a catch-up one while I work on some other stuff. I got some big projects on the go. And I'll just wrap up now, say goodnight. Yes, you can get add-ons for iPhones and smartphones, so you can actually look at the infrared and UV and the full spectrum. They fit in the USB socket, I believe, but lenses that go over your regular camera lens generally ain't that good. But having it interfaced by the USB to some other external device is available, and does a really good job, Anyway, I'm just gonna click off the ending and say goodnight because I gotta go and cook barbecue steak now. And have a good night. And my alien was using the wrong voice thing after all that. Oh well, doesn't matter, it was working. 07, what's that? Okay. Good. Hopefully you enjoyed it today, and have a watch of it if you missed it. Some interesting stuff we found there on the drones. And I'll just end this very quickly now. Not do the full end credits thing.